wonders of the world. So many wonders to behold. So many questions in my mind. So many questions, so little time. Answers don't so easily come unless you know to ask someone who is a master of the trade. Ask them how clouds get their shape. Welcome to What the Heck Is That with David Shiventura. Welcome back to another episode of What the Heck Is That? This episode we get to explore the four sides of music with Donny Maseng. Donny is a cantor and will learn what that is in a second, but is a really important person at the temple. He has an amazing singing voice and writes his own music, so let's welcome Donny to the show.
Hi, David. Hi, everyone. Wonderful to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I've really been looking forward to this, so thank you.
Can you start by explaining exactly what a cantor is to the audience, because some might not know?
Sure. So a cantor is the person who's responsible for singing the prayers, for bringing the music into the prayers. It's the minister of music, if you will. It's somebody who expresses everything that we have to say during a service, during prayers, musically. I sing. It comes from the Italian word cantore, to sing, to be a singer.
So you are a very important person at the temple.
Well, yes, it's an important part of the service. I think for me that services or prayers without music they're not the same. They're not as interesting. They're not as moving.
How did you become a cantor?
So how I became a cantor. I never really meant to become a cantor. It just was something that happened because I sang. People liked my voice. I love Judaism. I love prayers. I love what we call the liturgy. Those are the words that we say and we pray. And I started singing them. And then people said, well, you have to do that in the synagogue. You've got to be a cantor. And so very slowly I just got into it, and I started writing a lot of music for the prayers, a lot of music for synagogue. So they kind of came together, my writing of the music and my singing of the music. And it just always made me feel good. It made me feel happy, it made me feel connected. So it was my way of connecting with other people.
I love your religion too, so I understand that music is how we can share that with others.
Yes, I agree with you. I think that you know, it's not always easy for people to connect with each other, right? Sometimes people have a hard time explaining themselves to other people or connecting with other people. But music changes everything. Music immediately connects with you. Music goes from the heart to the heart immediately, without any barriers, without any difficulties.
I am going to assume you like more music than the songs of a cantor, so tell me what other kinds of music you listen to.
I listen to almost any kind of music. I listen to jazz. I listen to classical music a lot. I listen to folk music. I listen to soul music. I listen to music from around the world. I grew up listening to all kinds of music. And I started out actually as a rock and pop singer. I didn't start out as a cantor. I didn't start out with religious music. I started out with that kind of music. and then got into this. So my influences and the music that I listen to is from everywhere. All kinds of people, male, female, young, old, from Africa, from Asia, from Europe, from everywhere. I love music.
That is cool.
Thank you.
I am a big pop music guy myself, but I also love a lot of classic singers like Frank Sinatra.
Okay. Great singer, Frank Sinatra.
Where do you find inspiration for the music that you write?
So, from different places, but I will answer. I will answer you this way. Inspiration comes, I believe, because I'm a religious person. Inspiration comes from God. So I don't think about the music that I write. I hear the music that I write. So how do I hear it? Sometimes at night when I'm sleeping, I'll wake up suddenly and go, wait a minute, there's this thing been playing in my head, and so I have to go write it down. Other times it's because you hear birds, you hear the wind, you hear water running. And other times, usually for me a lot, from lyrics, from words. I read a poem, I see some lyrics, and that inspires me. It's as if the words are singing to me. They're telling me how they want to be sung, how they want to be written.
What does that mean? I am trying to learn by myself. Do you use a piano for that or something else?
So I use two things. I use my guitar because I'm a guitar player, and I started out as a classical guitar player. I studied in a conservatory, I studied music, and I played classical guitar. So my instrument is a guitar. I don't use the piano. But really, how I write most of the time now is on my computer because I have my music program, and I write notes. Really notes one by one. I write the notes because I'm hearing it in my head, and I write it on the paper, which now instead of being real paper now is on a computer. You know, because you work a lot with a computer. So it's the same thing. The computer really helps me in that sense because I can immediately see and then hear what it is that I'm writing.
I have much to learn.
We all do.
I read that you were on Broadway when you moved here. What was that experience like?
Wow. It was amazing because I was only 21 years old when I was on Broadway. So I was really a kid. I was very young, and it was mind blowing because it's Broadway, because it's like the place in the world to do musical theater. So I was there for a year when I first came here, and it was incredible. It was wonderful. I met a lot of people, a lot of very famous people came to the show. I got to meet them. I loved the audience. I loved everything about New York at that time. And then I was on Broadway again many, many years later.
I love music from Broadway and the love stories.
Wonderful. Which ones do you love? Do you have any song from Broadway that you really love?
New York, New York.
Oh, cool. Okay.
How does it feel to have other people perform the music you write that seems so cool to me?
It is cool. You're right. It is cool. I'll say it this way. It's cool when they sing it well. When they don't sing it well, it can be a bit difficult. But I love that other people want to sing my music. So it's very touching. I see from all over the world people do my music, and that's you know what, David? Especially I like when people from other religions sing my music. So I've now heard quite a few places in church from around the world where people sing some of my songs, and that's like, wow, that's a special experience.
I think that's how I will know I have made it when I hear others sing the songs I wrote.
I think so. I think as a writer, yes, that's the way you know. If other people want to sing your songs, even if they sing it differently than you wrote it, differently than how you meant for it to sound, still that's a wonderful thing. That's a great sign. And I wish that for you. The song you sent me, by the way, about the drums was really beautiful.
So I know that you are an spiritual person. Can you tell us how that gets tied into your music?
Yes, I can. Being spiritual and writing music to me is the same thing. There's no difference. An artist, for me, an artist always is a spiritual person. Doesn't matter if they call themselves spiritual or not. They're dealing with the same thing. What we're doing when we're doing music, we're expressing something that is not ordinary, something that's hidden, something that is in the air, something that's behind other things. So for me, spirituality has everything to do with what I do. It has to do with how I write, but it also has to do with how I sing and how I play. It's all connecting with something else, with somebody else.
You can definitely hear it when you sing. That is why I had to ask.
Thank you. That's a very sweet thing to say to me, because that's what matters to me more than anything else. I don't really, I'm not interested if people think I'm a good singer or a great singer I care that I connect with them. I care that when they hear my singing or when they hear my music, something happens to them, that they feel moved. That's when I feel good.
I am really interested to know what it was like growing up in Israel that play a role in your music too.
Well, growing up in Israel has a lot to do with my music, a lot. It has a lot to do with everything I do because Israel is a very special place. It's not like other countries. It's very beautiful, but it's also a difficult place to grow up in. It's hard, and people are different. The way people talk to each other, the way people relate to each other in Israel is different than America. So everything I do, even though I'm American, I'm Israeli always. And that's reflected in my music, it's reflected in my singing, it's reflected in everything.
Wow, very interesting.
Thank you.
So tell me, it much different writing song in Hebrew than English.
Yes and no, because writing music is writing music. But Hebrew is a very different language than English. It's kind of like asking, is there a difference between eating chocolate ice cream or vanilla ice cream? Well, they're both ice cream, right? But they don't taste the same. They give you a different feeling. You respond differently to them. In that same way, for me, Hebrew is like chocolate and English is like vanilla. It's just they're very, very different flavors. I love both. I respond to both, but I respond differently. I write different music when I'm writing in Hebrew, and I write different music when I'm writing in English.
I know some of the prayers, and you all write nothing's alike.
Thank you. Yes. So I thought I'd play just a couple of songs that I wrote. and they are both from prayers. So one of them, I'm sure you know one of them for sure, one a bit slower and one a bit faster. Matovu and Hodu. Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Matovu, Matovu. Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Vanim berov chastecha, Avo veitecha, Eshtachave lecha al kodshecha, Beiratecha. Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Mishkenotecha Yisrael. So that was Matovu. And this one is called Hodu. Give thanks to God because God is good. Give thanks. Say thank you, thank you, thank you all the time. That's what my grandfather taught me when I was a child, to always say thank you. So here we are. Hodu la'Adonai ki tov, ki le'olam chasdo. Hodu le'Elohei ha'Elohim, ki le'olam chasdo, ki le'olam chasdo. Hodu la'Adonai ha'Adonim, ki le'olam chasdo. לעושה נפלאות גדולות לבדו, כי לעולם חסדו, כי לעולם חסדו. כי לעולם חסדו, כי לעולם חסדו, הודו לאדוני כי טוב, כי לעולם חסדו, לעולם חסדו. כי לעולם חסדו, כי לעולם חסדו, הודו לאדוני כי טוב, כי לעולם חסדו, לעולם חסדו, לעולם חסדו, לעולם חסדו. And that is that.
Well, that was some pretty deep stuff, Donny. Thank you so much for talking to us about everything you do. I have talked to a lot of musicians, but never quite like this with such a big, important social side. It really shows that music has a lot of powerful in many different ways. Thank you so much, Donny.
I had such a wonderful time with you, and I really appreciate all the questions and how much you care about music. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
All right, everyone. That wraps up another episode of What the Heck Is That? Thank you so much for tuning in, and keep an eye out for the next episode. What the heck is that? Wonders, oh wonders of the world. So many wonders to behold. So many questions in my mind. So many questions, so little time. Answers don't so easily come unless you know to ask someone who is a master of the trade. Ask them how clouds get their shape. Welcome to What the Heck is That with David Shiventura.